Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk is back, brother. Right, well, some speculation, but it's gaining momentum, shall we say, in the boxing community, that we may have Marcos Maidana back in boxing. We all remember this guy, don't we? He was a tremendously entertaining fighter. One that you would, well, he was must-see TV. Knockout power. Front foot fighter. Throws punches from strange angles. Upsets the apple cart. Embarrasses people like Adrian the Problem Broner. The first man to beat Adrian Broner. Hurting Adrian Broner. And that takes some doing, because to be fair to Adrian Broner, he does have a good chin. On the tutelage of Robert Garcia, his jab improved immensely in the Floyd Mayweather fight at times. Just throwing that straight, extended jab was able to get through Floyd's defense. And in the second fight, even though it wasn't as competitive, that jab alone actually busted Floyd's nose up. You know, Floyd, at the end of that fight, I mean, he was interviewed on Mexican TV, and he said he wasn't in love with boxing anymore. I think that was just a physical experience that fighting Chino Maidana, puts on a fighter, takes out of a fighter. We've seen Chino Maidana near his prime stop Lopez, who Keith Thurman fought recently, in 6 rounds. He went on to win titles in 2 weight classes. Had a classic fight with Amir Khan, where Amir Khan was way ahead of steam, and then Chino clipped him late on, and Amir Khan was holding on. He was holding on. That's the best of Chino, though. Also, the best of Chino did lose to Devin Alexander. He lost to Kotelnik. He lost to Amir Khan. Very close fight with Floyd in the first one. For me, it could have gone either way. But the second one, Chino lost. But I will say, tremendous puncher, plants his feet very well. His movement with his feet and the way he moves his knees, as Paulie Malignaggi said, he's very quirky and could sort of take a fighter out of their comfort zone. Sometimes when he was fighting Floyd Mayweather against the ropes, he was fighting so offensive that he was actually smothering Floyd Mayweather's ability to attack back. But of course, wants some space, and this is the thing with classic boxers. When you give them space and time, they start to come into their own. And Floyd Mayweather, in the second half of the fight, when Chino had slowed down somewhat, was starting to pick him off with those right hands and solid jabs to the body, which slowed Chino down. Of course, Amir Khan also knocked Chino down with the body shot. What do I make of this potential comeback? We saw Keith Thurman look a shadow of himself due to ring rust against Lopez recently after just 2+ years out the ring. You have to remember, Chino Maidana has been out the ring now since 2014, the second fight against Floyd Mayweather, where he didn't look anywhere near as good as he did in the first. He seemed to be lacking a bit of stamina to me in the second fight than in the first. We saw Ricky Hatton, who had, like Chino, gained weight after retiring, had gone through depression and a fair few issues with alcohol. Then he comes back and he attempts to fight a guy called Shevchenko, who was the welterweight world champion, just a fight before fighting an inactive Ricky Hatton. Now, Ricky Hatton, it looked like Keith Thurman's fight. Ricky Hatton made a good start. But like Chino, he does different things to Chino. His foot speed is quicker. He doesn't throw from the same angles, but he's an aggressor. Like Chino Maidana, Ricky Hatton was must-see TV. Arturo Gatti was must-see TV. If they're on, you watch them. Because you're going to get a war You know, they are not going to dance around with the stars. You get what you demand from these guys, which is a fight. It's a boxing match on the pebbles, if that makes sense, right? Who hits who the hardest? Who drops the hardest? This is how these guys think, right? So Ricky Hatton makes a good start, but ultimately gets stopped. And this is Ricky Hatton after 3.5 years out of the ring. Keith Thurman 2 years, 3.5 years for Ricky Hatton, right? But Hatton was able, against a world-level opponent, to hold his own. But you see, Ricky Hatton, he was kind of from my neck of the woods. He was a freak of nature. You would see him at one point and he would look like an absolute blimp. Then he would get into better shape than Bruce Lee and win a world title. Those guys are kind of rare. Roberto Duran was another one. But those guys are rare. I don't see Chino Maidana doing this, to be honest with you. I think he's got to tread very carefully about what he does here, Chino. Of course, if he's anything like he used to be, who would not want to watch him? Let's talk about potential opponents. Kell Brook will be a little bit nervous yet again, because Amir Khan may fancy, after the Crawford fight, a rematch with Chino. Because Amir Khan fighting Crawford now gives Chino Maidana a chance to fight a tune-up. And Chino needs a tune-up or two. He does. He can't just go in after 5 years against a world-level opponent. If we've seen Keith Thurman struggle with a B- fighter after 2 years, and we've seen Ricky Hatton, who would have beaten Shevchenko just a few years prior, I actually think had Ricky Hatton took a tune-up and then fought Shevchenko, he'd have beaten Shevchenko. He was ahead on the scorecards before that stoppage. But Chino Maidana has got to learn from Hatton that way. Not to just jump in. If Manny Pacquiao throws the money out there, maybe he has to take it. But here's the thing. Manny Pacquiao may be an option, right? But people would expect Chino to test. I don't even think prime Chino Maidana would test Manny Pacquiao like he tested Floyd Mayweather. Styles make fights. I think Chino Maidana ends up like Lucas Batiste v Pacquiao, right? Pacquiao throws more punches back at you than Floyd Mayweather. He does have the advantage in hand speed with combinations. He hits harder than Mayweather. He doesn't sit on the ropes like Floyd Mayweather did at times in the Chino fight. And of course, Manny executes power shots now to the body, not just the jab to the stomach, right? Chino Maidana, as I say, if you want to look at how a Pacquiao-Chino fight, even in their primes, would look, go take a look at Brandon Rios Pacquiao, at Pacquiao Margarito. I think Pacquiao would stop Chino Maidana. I think he would be the first guy to stop him. He would be able to throw, when Chino Maidana shells up against him and comes forward, Pacquiao would be able to throw all sorts of artillery against him. The difference is, when he fought Adrian Broner was on the defensive. Adrian Broner's aim was not to be beaten, right? Or should I say, his aim was to not be knocked out. That's what led to his downfall. But had Adrian Broner decided to go to war with Pacquiao, he'd have ended up like Lucas Batiste, right? But Chino Maidana would go to war. This is Chino Maidana's philosophy in life is, taking no risks is the biggest risk of all. He would not sit back. He would try and come forward like Lucas Batiste did, and inevitably he would get hurt. It's not like fighting Floyd Mayweather. I know Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao. Styles make fights. Floyd Mayweather also had competitive outings with both Hatton early and Cotto. Pacquiao demolished both of them. You got to take these things into consideration. Floyd Mayweather was holding on for dear life when he was hit very hard by Shane Mosley, right? Floyd come back to win, but Mosley didn't even have a moment where he bothered Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao, from start to finish, put Mosley on that back foot and did something Floyd didn't do. He dropped Shane Mosley. Generally, the people Floyd Mayweather struggles with are the guys Manny Pacquiao finds easy to beat. And of course, the guys Manny Pacquiao struggles with, i.e. Marquez, Floyd Mayweather finds easy to beat. Styles make fights. It's just the way it is. It's nothing new. We know this. I have an uncle, right, that used to get into fights in the local town. And he would always fight this guy called Steven, I think it was. And he would always beat Steven. Steven would always beat these other three lads, right? These other three guys who Steven used to fight with. You know something? My uncle lost to one of the three guys Steven used to beat. And yet my uncle would always beat Steven. So it's not just about boxing, it's about life. See what I'm saying? I'd get more injured fighting a rat than a cat would. And yet, I'd be favourite to beat a cat. You know what I'm saying? It just is the way it is. In lifestyles, throw up different conundrums. Right? Now, Chino Maidana would also have an option. And this is a good fight for me. If Chino can get back to anything like the way he was, what about Jeff Horn? Jeff Horn throws himself forward sometimes with reckless abandonment. Chino could maybe with that power catch him as he flies in, and attacks sort of like Chino, but a bit more movement, right? Chino would have opportunities there because Jeff Horn, he's not exactly defensively blessed. He's an offensive fighter. Herky-jerky movement, but of course Chino Maidana has herky-jerky punching style, so that might be an interesting one. But again, Chino couldn't do to Pacquiao what Jeff Horn did. He's not as quick, he's not as big, right? He tries that bullying thing, but I think Manny's side-to-side movement negates all that, right? Still, it would be an interesting watch, but right now, Pacquiao, there's no ring rust. There's tons of ring rust on Chino. He may get absolutely obliterated. Those tune-up fights need to happen. But you've got Jeff Horn. That might be a good fight. After a tune-up fight, though, may I stress. Perhaps Kell Brook. Right? Perhaps Kell Brook, because remember Carson Jones gave Kell Brook a real tough fight. Maybe Chino, an aggressor, can do the same. We've seen Kell Brook struggle out numerous times against aggressors. Because Kell Brook, to me, at times, he doesn't move his head and his chest and his shoulders that much. He's kind of a bit static up top. So although he's hitting you, you as an attacker have a chance to land shots up top against him. And he's in the pocket a lot as well, Kell Brook. He kind of moves, but he moves in the pocket. He's not like Floyd, who's being elusive all around the ring, rope to rope. That's not Kell Brook. Watch the Errol Spence fight. So that might be an interesting one. I was even going to say if Ricky hadn't come back for another fight, but I suppose that's way off the agenda. But you've got that if Chino can be successful in tune-ups. Maybe a rematch with Lopez. It would certainly be an end-to-end fight and an entertaining one. Brook, Lopez, potential rematch with Khan, because many people are anticipating that Terence Crawford would beat Khan and maybe might put more wear and tear on Amir Khan. So that sort of maybe levels that up, right? Not sure I'd be interested in seeing him fight Devin Alexander. If Chino could by some chance get back to his best form, what about Sean Porter? What about a rematch with Adrian Broner? But Sean Porter would be a war, wouldn't it? Again, I think if Chino comes back and jumps straight into a fight with Sean Porter, I think he gets obliterated. What about a tune-up or two and then a Keith Thurman fight? We've seen Keith Thurman look vulnerable to an attacker in Lopez who is not frightened of Keith Thurman's power. And we know Chino Maidana is not frightened of taking someone's power. And that fight was talked about long ago. Right? You've got Manny Pacquiao. That's an obvious one for the money. But I think it's a bad style match for Chino Maidana. What about if he could tempt Lucas Matisse back and fight him professionally? That would be a huge event in Argentina. Just some interesting thoughts there on a potential avenue of back into boxing for Chino Maidana. I said it before, I say it again, he needs them tune-ups though. And we have to accept he could actually be a shadow of himself by the time he gets in the boxing ring. 5 years, I mean, this is half a decade out the ring. Again, and Chino Maidana is... he was beatable in his prime. If he's a step off anything from his prime when he comes back, he could be in serious danger because a guy like Chino Maidana, who is brave and a warrior, you'd have to save him from himself because he would keep coming forward all night long. A fight with Adrian Granados. That's another one. Adrian Granados likes to tear up. There's a few options that are less damaging than fighting Pacquiao, Crawford, Errol Spence. If Chino Maidana was anything like himself, it would probably be a good fight with Errol Spence. But I think prime Errol Spence, which is currently coming up, and prime Chino Maidana, which is in the past, really, I still would take Errol Spence to beat him. So, this Chino Maidana may get absolutely annihilated, having half a decade out the ring against Errol Spence, who was coming to the top of his game. It's one thing hitting the heavy bag. It's one thing sparring. It's one thing... Sparring partners are there to test you, but they're also there to make sure you're not injured, so you can actually enter the professional fight. But when the bell goes, your opponent without the headgear is trying to take your head off, right? There's a big difference. And being match fit and being gym fit are two different things. They're going to have to really look for a D-level fighter or two before Chino can step up. Pacquiao may have been retired by the time Chino gets any rhythm back, right? Or Pacquiao and his team might just think, right, Manny fancies filling his hands again and knocking someone out. So Chino, you're next. But trust me, it is a ploy. Do not fall for it. Get a few fights, earn a few money. Of course, it will take it if Pacquiao offers the fight. But it's a mistake. Right, it is a mistake. Jeff Horn may be a good fight, a few tune-up fights in. The Amir Khan fight was entertaining. Khan is on the wind. Khan's career is winding down now. So maybe there's an opportunity there. Would I like to see Chino come back? If he could assure us that he was fit and healthy and could protect himself in the ring, by all means. Like I said, he's an Arturo Gatti style figure. Very entertaining. You don't want to miss a Chino fight. If you do, he's the sort of guy the boxing fans love and the casuals can watch too. He's exhilarating to watch. There will be punches thrown. There will be caution thrown to the wind. Guaranteed when you watch Maidana fight. That is his gift. That is what sells him. No matter what, he'll always have that spirit inside him. But if his body can't respond to the spirit, then somebody needs to save him from himself. We'll have to wait and see if he does make the comeback. But anyway, I suppose yes. If he was anything like his best, of course, he's must-see TV. Chino Maidana, maybe on the way back. Who would you like to see him fight on the comeback? Maybe Floyd Mayweather. I mean, Floyd Mayweather's been inactive against a real live dog lately. Maybe the third fight with that. I don't know. It's up to you. This is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. I'm out, brother.